Plaintiff Linda Bina says the defendant was a part-time employee, and she was recently found guilty of stealing nearly $5,000 from Linda. Linda believes the defendant stole from her to support her gambling addiction, and she's suing her today for consequential damages. Defendant Lisa McKay insists she never stole from Linda and claims the only reason she was convicted of stealing $150 was because Linda lied in court. Lisa's countersuing for defamation and emotional distress because she claims Linda made racist comments about her.
Prove your case.
We are here because Lisa was found guilty of theft from my 2 bank accounts after a 5-day trial. She was a part-time employee.
How long had she been working for you before she committed this theft?
Just a few weeks.
Okay.
Your Honor, that's not true.
You tell me.
I actually started working for Ms. Bina in 2004, doing some light bookkeeping. And then in regards to the theft, that's not true either. I was found guilty of theft of $150, no restitution.
So what do you mean it's not true if you were found guilty?
What she stated was that I was found guilty of theft from 2 bank accounts, and that's not what I was
just
found.
one?
No, it wasn't that either.
Where did you steal from?
It wasn't from a bank account. It was.
Did you steal from her?
No, I didn't actually. No, I didn't steal.
Who did you steal from? Who were you found guilty of stealing from?
From Linda Bina.
Right. Go ahead and proceed, ma'am.
Well, I trusted her and I allowed her to get familiar with my banking accounts and my rental income. Well, I later learned she had a severe gambling problem and hung out with a rowdy crowd. And in September 2005, I left to go to Arizona to buy a very modest snowbird type of house. And as soon as I left, Lisa began making unauthorized checks payable to herself. These unauthorized checks actually listed advance pay, loan for a trip to Las Vegas. They were written payable to her from my tax account because I had left 6 to 8 pre-signed checks for emergency repairs.
Go ahead, ma'am. Tell me whatever you'd like me to know.
Okay, first of all, Linda makes reference to the fact that she gave me a $500 loan paid against my pay before I left for Arizona to go to a Relay for Life convention that she keeps telling everybody that I was going to go and gamble is why I went there. She gave me $500 advance to go to Relay. And then when I was there where the $150 comes to play, she offered to have my husband drive her van to Arizona to surprise me. And then on my way back, she would fly him back, but that way we could spend some time while I was in Vegas at this convention for the American Cancer Society. It ended up being theft when we went to criminal court. Linda stated that she did not know my husband. And since the conversation never happened between Linda and my husband and it was through me that she had made the arrangements from, they was like, well, we can't kind of differentiate whether this really happened or this really did not happen at all. But Linda makes reference to $500.
So why do you think you got convicted?
Pardon me?
Why do you think
I think honestly it's what the jury said is the fact that it went through 3 years and they had to convict me of something. They said some of them said they felt that they had to convict me of something. Other ones said that
you spoke with the jury?
The jury came and spoke with me afterwards.
Okay.
After the criminal case. And then they also said that
they said, we feel we had to convict you of something.
They did. I'm not lying. That's what they came up with. They said, we found you guilty.
It had nothing to do with the checks.
No, actually it didn't.
So what did they convict you of again?
They convicted me of $150 theft.
Of what?
It says $150. It says theft in third degree.
You don't know what you were convicted of? You know so much about what the jury said to you in the back room. Don't you know what the jury said in the front?
I was convicted of $150 theft.
Of what? Cash? Of products? Of what?
They think it was cash. I do believe it doesn't say in there.
Had nothing to do with a check.
It was written in the form of a check. Yes, it was.
You were convicted of writing a $150 check. Go ahead, ma'am.
The unauthorized checks listed advance pay.
How much? Again,
the
give me the
first one
total.
was $500 advance pay. That was never authorized. Second one was listed as a loan for the trip. That was $500. And then $150 for miscellaneous, nothing actually given, just $150 check.
And she was only convicted of the $150?
Yes.
Counterclaim $4,000 for defamation and emotional distress.
When, Your Honor, when this all first started, I was a bartender at a local lodge, and Linda was one of my customers that came in frequently to the bar. There was a time that she had passed out in 6 inches of snow in the truck from being out all day drinking. And when I first met her...
What does that do to you?
What that does to me was what I found out later is, after all this, had I known, and maybe as an employee, we should do background checks on our employer, had I known that she'd been involved with 29 small claims cases from suing people to suing the city.
How did her falling out drunk in the snow, how does that cause you emotional distress?
When Linda came back into town from Arizona, she walked in the bar and says, drinks ran the N-word from Snoqualmie, who sold $60,000 from me. She wrote letters to...
Can you have proof of that?
I have a statement from a gentleman who was in the bar when it happened.
Let's see it. Ma'am, did you do this? This is her defamation part of her claim.
Yeah, I hear her, but I never bought drinks for anybody or used any N-word. I don't believe it.
Did you say anything about your money dispute with her in public?
I had people ask me why I was back, and yes, I said to file charges.
And did you ever use the term 60,000?
60,000?
Isn't that what you said?
Yes.
60,000?
She said you alleged in public that she had stolen 60,000.
Oh, no. No.
Ms. Bina stated that also that the reason she came back to town...
Doesn't say anything about that on the letter, ma'am.
It doesn't say anything about the money. It says about the fact about what she said about me and who was buying drinks for the club at that point in time.
No, it says she called you a name. That's what this says.
This right here is a party that my witness was having for me. And Linda says that there were criminal charges for grand theft, forgery, embezzlement that she delivered around town. She dropped off my driver's license with
Ma'am, everything you're making reference to has to do with the criminal trial in which you were convicted. Now, you have any evidence you want to give me showing the consequences of this damage other than the $150 that she was convicted of stealing? Because all the other things you mentioned, she was not convicted of taking from you.
Well, the other account is a rental account, and the renter's paid in cash. There's no evidence of she just didn't put it in the rental account. And that was cash.
What evidence do you have that can convince me that it was more than the $150? Just like I can't go around the conviction that she has to accommodate her desires today, I can't go around that same conviction to accommodate yours. She was convicted of only $150. And therefore, unless you prove otherwise, I can't determine that she owes you more. Sometimes people are convicted of something or they're acquitted, but in civil court, you can prove in civil court that it should have been more.
Your Honor.
Because that was criminal court.
Right.
But typically, you use criminal court evidence to have some insight on the civil case. So you have to overcome the burden of me saying it was only $150.
Okay, the consequential...
No, you have to show me some evidence.
The consequential damages were to pay my taxes, which amounted to $5,627.
So you're saying because she took some of your money,
yes,
you can't pay your taxes?
Well, they were due. Second half in Washington is due October 31st.
See, and consequential damages are based on an action that was foreseeable. In other words, you can't sue a person for everything that happened in your life because of an earlier crime. Ma'am, I'm going to grant you $150, which is all you can prove to me that she owes you pursuant to these checks. Your claim, $150, ma'am. Yours is dismissed. Have a good day.
I didn't make any of those comments. In fact, I made it a goal to avoid Lisa when I came back from Arizona to Washington.
I wasn't there when you said it. That's right. That's not a lie. That's the truth. I wasn't there. Other people came back and said it. That's why I have a statement.
Sounds like secondhand information to me, and I know I didn't say anything like that.
Whatever.
Basically, she did. She stole from my two accounts. It was theft. They found her guilty. They were all made payable to her.
I don't understand.
And they were found after her bank account was subpoenaed by the police. They were found in her checking account, payable to her, deposited into that account.